in the
What's up,
GTO.
everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today, we're gonna be looking at a 40 big blind spot. It's gonna be under the gun open, under the gun 1-3 bets at 40 big blinds. So the flop strategy for the under the gun opener as the caller in a 3-bet pot, not very surprising. That he's checking 95% of the time, but it is surprising that he has some leads. So he is leading small on like 6 high boards sometimes. Anyhow, like he checks 95% of the time. So when he checks, this is gonna be under the gun 1 strategy. So like we never use a big size here. We bet 80% of our range for small. We only check 17%. There are some textures that are really good for us between the ace. The ace is like almost good, 80% bet, good enough. Somewhere between the ace and the 9 are really, really good bets. Where it gets tricky around the 7. So on 7 high board, we're checking like almost 30% of the time. So that's interesting. Oh no, yeah, this one. So it's 8 high board that we're checking almost 80% of the, almost 40% of the time. Even the 10 high board is not great here. So we really need like a jack or a king. So we can guess that a king and a jack are gonna be really good for us, either on the flop or on the turn. If we flop a king high board, it's a pure bet. A jack high board, it's a pure bet. And we can guess that if a king or a jack comes on the turn, it's gonna be really, really good for us in this scenario. Ace is still pretty good. And like.
Really good for under the gun 1 or?
These are under the gun 1, yeah, for the 3
Okay.
better. These
So
are
it makes
like, this is like, I have here 100 ace high boards. And on average, we bet them 80% of the time. So this report has been made with the 500 sims. And then we have the number of sims for every high card. So yeah, 8 high board, we start to check a lot. These cards are not great because we don't have good coverage in this area. So this is the range of the under the gun 1-3 bet. So as we see here, 8, 7, 6, and then 5, we don't have any coverage in this area, which makes this spot really, really interesting because there's many textures that we just totally break as the 3 better. And, you know, we should be c-betting a lot. And I've been struggling a little bit because people check jam on me a lot when I do that. So I want to train on the spot a little bit. So facing the small bet, this is gonna be the under the gun strategy. So the first thing that I find impressive is that we almost meet MDF.
Louis, the MDF
Yeah, the line, I know,
line.
the line is not good, right?
That's not good, the line.
Yeah, but the line should be around here. So
Yeah,
like,
to 23 or something like that, huh?
yeah, so we almost meet MDF on 10 high boards. And then there's a lot of raising, right? Like on the ace high board and king high board, he almost raise as much as he calls. So it's very, very tough here. And then, yeah. And
So it's raising
Sorry,
small.
look, Louis, maybe I'm wrong as well. I'm just looking at Jonathan J. Al's raise first in charts, and it's saying that we shouldn't be opening with minimum of 6s at 40 bigs.
yeah, but look at the GTO charts, not like the PDF ones.
Right. On
It's
the, on
fives.
the,
It's 5s, I think.
We could definitely not open our worst pairs, but for the study purposes, it's gonna be in our ranges because it's a thing.
It's GTO.
well, I think it has to be
You're looking
anyway.
at GTO ranges, not at all the ranges at the
Yeah,
moment. Huh?
so we should have pocket 3 like 10% of the time. So it's okay,
Okay.
Harry. It's all right.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's just a
Not
question.
gonna affect the strategy too much because
No.
Like, as we saw, it's really like, it's these between like 8 high to like 5 high boards that are really gonna be tricky.
Yeah, you certainly don't have to open those when you're playing. If you don't wanna play these twos, threes, fours, whatever, you can just not play them.
Yeah,
You're gonna play him against the loose player anyway, right?
I
Course
don't
you
play,
are.
I don't, I don't, I
The
don't
whole
play.
table you're playing against, Maxi, not one player.
so we were
And-
looking at.
Toby, if I
textures.
can add something when we do these, I would love to see the equity chart on these spots. It's something to add for future study sessions.
Okay.
You know, the graph with the 2 lines. It can be really interesting.
Yeah, but it depends on the texture, right?
It
So-
depends on the texture. You can't do that on that
Yeah.
bar chart at least.
Joe's, are we talking ICM here then? Are we talking about an ICM spot at
No,
40
this
bigs?
is-
GTO spot.
Just chippy V.
Chippy V, okay.
GTO
But-
slash chippy V.
But Maxi, if they play looser, then you should be nittier, not looser.
So I was
Yeah.
looking at various like flop textures. And I was trying to find patterns. So basically like the boards where in position, open rips the most are gonna be here. So Jack 10-8. These are the boards where in position is just open jamming. So pretty crazy. So, where is it? The 40?
Really connected boards, 8 and higher. Is that all ones or not?
These are, yeah. These are the boards where in position open rips. Oh, sorry,
position.
give me a second.
The most, they're not pure rips, Josh, but they do it quite a bit.
Okay.
If I remember when we were looking at, it. We did this till 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm a little.
Let's see, Queen, Jack.
Open, it's open ripping for 3x pot.
Yes, on these kind of textures, it's always gonna be Jack 10, Queen Jack. So whenever there's like a Jack and a 10 or a Queen or a Jack. We could sometimes just open rip. In like, and on a board like Jack 10-8, for example. It was open ripping with like ace queen off, right? I don't know if you remember, I think Peter played a very similar hand recently like this. So the board was Jack 10-8, and then we had something like ace queen. So we just,
Jack, King Jack, ace queen off indeed.
so Jack 10-8. Rainbow.
Yeah, but that's really slivers, huh?
Tough. No, look at this. It's not a sliver, man. The most of the strategy is just to open jam with range here. Right?
Right.
How many big blinds do they have behind that?
Oh, that's in position. Okay, sorry. I'm
But
looking at
we
the
start from 40, we 3-bet to around 6 big blinds, they calls. And then we have like 32, 33 to the flop.
You can see the pre-flop tree,
Oh, okay.
the SPR on the far.
I was looking at out of position, sorry.
So like these kind of textures, I found it interesting that the 3-better is just ripping, right?
Yeah,
Like
but
a
the
pre-flop tree.
The board is so
Why
do you keep doing that, Louis?
that you have to get it in if you can.
Open the post-flop tree building in calculations. So the
Why do you think it's
SPR
doing
is
that, Louis?
like 1.5 roughly, right?
The,
Yeah, about 1.5.
Yeah, so.
That,
SPR
that,
is-
sorry, that range we're ripping again, Louis, right?
Yeah.
That range. On
exactly.
that board then, I mean, we've got monsters basically, haven't we?
Yeah.
Or we've got the big draws to the nuts, basically.
Yeah, but the opposite player has also big draws. That's the reason that you want to
Yeah.
realize your equity.
So
There are
Jack
big draws
10-8.
available on all these boards.
So all of these boards, we do a lot of just like open ripping. So I thought it was really interesting. Now let's look quickly at the boards we check the most. So I found out, we found out together, I think it was Saturday, that a lot of monotone boards are checked here. So as the 3-better, we don't want to have a monotone board too much. Or we check a lot when it comes like this, or whenever like there's 2 cards between the 8 and the 4 on the board. You know, it's all three cards are low, like for example, 7-6-3. We are gonna check a lot. And then
What
like,
is, what is the defending range of the three better, from the caller, I mean? So one opens, one gets three bet, and one, what should he call with?
this is the calling range for under the gun. As others have pointed out, we are not like kind of full frequency here with these, but like they're a part of our
Yeah.
calling range. So if we open them, we should always defend them or almost always. But like on pocket three, we don't open them often enough. Although it's just like, it's not many combos, right? It's only 6 combos. So
Yeah, with those low connected boards, there's a lot of opportunity to have straight draws as well as pairs.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
that's why I think we have to attack.
yeah. And then
those middle.
in position is really, it has no coverage in this area of the deck. So if it comes like a 7 or a 6 or a 5, or if one of these card pairs, it's gonna be really good for out of position.
Sevens and below, basically, they're gonna have a lot less coverage, you're saying, Louis, right?
Yeah, exactly. And as we see here, it's exactly the textures we check the most. Monotone boards, and then these type of low boards where we just don't have any coverage. So
No
these are the
connected boards,
textures
also.
we check.
So
the
in
most.
so you're basically saying in position, we're checking on the low boards, basically.
Yeah, well, we check a bit more often, like, say for example, ace three deuce, okay?
Right.
Ace three deuce, I think we are still gonna bet a little bit. But it's not gonna be like a range bet. Like it's it's the board we check the most, simple as that. So it's kind of locked up, right?
Yeah,
So let's see how often we check. We check 60% of the time. So that's our highest check board. So we don't do a lot of betting here. We just bet with top pair or when we have a card of the suit. Nope, that's the other thing. Like it's betting pocket 9 without the card of the suit. Pocket 8
Yeah.
without the card of the suit.
yeah,
Yeah.
more for protection though, right?
You do
For
less
protection there.
bluffing with draws.
We don't want to see any more overcards to the ace on this stack depth, right?
Yeah. So this is the kind of board we're gonna check. This is the heavy check and then 6-5-4 with a flush draw. 6-5-4. 6-5-4 with a flush draw. Hello, Pio, good morning. Hello. 6-5-4 with a flush draw, there it is. So still heavy check 60% of the time. And then like we size up with like vulnerable pairs, but overall it's just a very heavy check. I wanna find checks with pocket aces here, some pocket kings.
Yeah, but that's logical because we don't have.
And protect your 8, 9s, 10s, jacks.
Yeah, because we don't have like any 7s, any 6s, a 7, a 6, 5s, don't have any coverage. So
You want to
Louis,
protect
there's
your
a-
8s to jacks, right?
You don't have sets and you don't have two pair.
yeah. Tim?
Oh, I was gonna say, on that 6-5-4, it's interesting that it plays a little bit passively with 8s and 9s. Is out of position folding some 9x and 8x when we bet?
Probably.
Maybe when we bet this, if we go all in, you mean, or if we bet just?
Or it's just kind of normal-ish size, one of our more normal sizes, like our 60. When we bet a 60, do they have some significant 9x and 8x they're folding?
Yeah, the 9?
The 9x in particular, yeah. I notice this a lot. You don't go bonkers sometimes with yeah, the hands that block the folding range.
Yeah,
You slow down with those 9s a little bit compared to 10s and jacks.
so
On
the-
where it, sorry, Louis, where it's betting those mid-range overpairs, the 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks there. What size are we betting? Are we betting big there?
yeah, all in.
Oh,
All in,
okay.
or Bet small,
All
Okay,
in.
it's not, we're not betting pot, we're all in.
yeah,
We're just ripping with the 8s, 9s, 10s and jacks.
yeah, 25% of the time ripping, 45% of the time betting small. but sometimes it's even just ripping. If we look at the bottom right. So yeah, a lot of going all in here with hands like jacks and tens.
What's with the 8s and 9s with the checking? What are we checking sometimes there? We're just trying to balance. Is that just where we're balancing slightly?
No, we check more when we don't have a spade.
Right, okay. Because earlier you were saying about betting without the card of the suit, because I thought we might be doing the same here, just for protection as well.
Yeah, on monotone bars, we're kind of turning our small pairs into a bluff when we don't have the card of the suit. That's-
Okay.
But here it's not, it's just a flush draw board.
On the other board, there was aces, but no other big cards. We were just protecting our hand a bit more, right?
But the other piece there, I think the reason why we're checking 8s a bit is because it does have interaction with the board, so it's a bit more protected. We want to have some 8x when a 7 rolls off on the turn.
Yeah, we've got a few
Uh,
straight opportunities.
Exactly, so it needs actually a little bit less protection than like 9s, because it can improve on either an 8 or a 7.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Alright.
true, yeah.
And now, the spot that actually gave me a bit of trouble, if you want, is like when I see bet small and I get ripped on, and I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to do with ace king? So board where out of position is gonna check jam the most. We have a lot, actually, a lot of boards where you want to check jam. So like, a quad board, he's gonna check jam a lot, but we can understand because he has all the pairs. Like he has every pair here and we don't. So he has the full house a lot more than us. So that makes
So
sense
why we check? So why we check jamming then if he's got it the most?
because it's for protection. We want to get it in good against ace king. And
Right. Oh, I see. If we have got a pair, we right. Okay, we're shipping it anyway. All right.
And then what I also notice is that pair boards. Pair boards, when a low card is paired. Like even the 9, when the 9 is paired, it's really good. But whenever we have a pair board like 966, 996, 995, 955. It's a lot of pair boards where he's gonna check jam on. And then, yeah, like when the deuce is paired, the 4 is paired, and has to do with ranges again.
Yeah, what we think he's likely to be free betting.
Yeah.
What his board coverage is.
So I was looking at this with Peter and Ken this Saturday, and then Peter was pointing out that we like 7s, 8s, and 6s are a very, very big deciding factor in this strategy. So you check jam a lot on also like queen, 9, paired queen. We do a lot of check jamming on as the out of position. But like, yeah, so these were the boards where he's check jamming the most on, and there's a lot of them.
Is it boards mostly containing like a queen, jack, 8, 10 type boards?
It feels like it's always like a pair of boards with like, almost always pair boards.
There's a lot of 10s in there.
Can we see some hands, Louis? Because
It likes 10s,
I'm
doesn't
wondering
it?
how much jamming there is actually, because
There's a hell of a lot of 10s.
Sure, let's look at 996.
I guess he's not got that many 10s in his free betting range, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think out of position has some good 10s.
Yeah,
Queen 10 suited, King 10 suited, Jack 10 suited, right?
yeah. And on the paired boards, there's so many 10s on that chart, isn't there? So many. 10s, 8s, and 9s seem to be the cards it likes.
So
Yeah,
nine-
right. Whereas in position like aces, kings especially, right? And jacks.
Yeah. Avoid aces and king flops.
So he check jams 20% of the time. So
Wow.
all of these boards were like between like 20%.
8s and 10s.
Yeah, 20% to 35%, more or less.
Yes,
And then-
right.
It's a little crazy for me to see him going bonkers with king nine suited, because it just seems like it seems like it doesn't need to go all in, you know, like to my naive
Yeah,
thought process.
yeah, but he has a lot of flush draws that wanna check.
Yeah,
down.
but yeah.
And he just gets called by
I'm
like
I'm
jacks,
looking
right?
at Geo Wizard for 35 big blinds and I see less jamming. That's strange.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's very, very fun, and it's a very fun spot, and
I
And
see.
yeah, it happens to me a lot in games, so I thought it would be a good idea to look it up a little bit, you know?
So it's probably
So,
all
Well, I think it's also like your opponents don't have the right ranges here. When they raise early position and flat you, they just like always have jacks.
that's right,
Right? Like just like every time.
yeah. Alright, boards where out of position, open jams the most on, so 10, 9, 8, so it just goes all in on the flop. That's pretty crazy, right? 10, 9, 8. And we were looking at this and it's because of 6, 7. Like in position never has a 7 or never has a 6. Whereas out of position, out of position is gonna have the same amount as like hands like queen jack, the upper straight. But out of position as hands like a7 and king 7. So he has more coverage here on a board like 10, 9, 8 rainbow. So
But on a 10, 9, 8 at 40 bigs, he should be free betting 8s to 10s a lot, right? Do you think?
yeah, the pairs, sure, but
So he should have a
well,
lot of 8
nines,
sets.
I'm not a big fan of three betting with nines under the.
Yeah, I
gun.
think your ranges have out of position has that full frequency, in position only has less than full frequency.
But I agree, Louis, but on 40 bigs, don't 8s to 10s become a free bet in position
Ranges
against
show
and
it's
under
a
the
flat
gun?
frequently.
You know, 30% of the time you can three bet, but 70% of the time these are calls against, because early position under the gun, when he raise, you know, he's very linear. And when we have 8
Yeah.
and 9s, we're actually blocking the bottom of the opening range. So we
Okay.
block hands like jack 9 suited or like
Queen 9 suited.
9, 8 suited, for example, which is like exactly the bottom of his opening range.
All
That's
the
interesting.
opening, all the 9s, all the suited 9s he's playing.
Yeah, so when we have pocket 9, it's more likely our opponent has like a queen jack suited or like a king queen suited, so we're blocking the bottom, so. Like,
Yeah.
I don't three bet them ever, actually, so.
What about in late position? I think against button against cutoff and that we probably are, right?
Yeah, that's very different.
Yeah.
So this is exactly, right? 10, 9, 8. This guy is just ripping. Like he calls the three bet, he sees the flop, and then he's like, oh, let's go all in. So we found out that it's because of if like there's two cards, like a 10 or an 8, like he has two pair here full frequency, and us just don't have any two pairs here. So we don't have 9, we don't have 9, 8, we don't have none of these, whereas when he does, he's just like, oh, well, how about we just open rip into the three better and see if he has aces this time. So I thought it was.
So we
really
just
good.
open rip there anyway.
Yeah, open ripping as the pre-flop caller with ace.
Yeah.
We're gonna slow play, but not on this flop anymore. So I thought this was a very funny spot. So all of these boards out of
Aces is
position.
Aces is just ripping on that board as well.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah,
It needs
for
a lot of-
massive protection.
Yeah,
Needs
so
to be
and
massive
then
protection indeed, because
as
there
I
are a lot of
was saying, we have hands like, we have as much queen jack suited as the other. Well, we don't, but we have it at least. And then,
we don't bet it, huh?
yeah, but he has more like sevens. And then with his sevens, he has the bottom dangler of the straight, and then.
All his one pair hands have all outs also, huh? I mean, it's
Yeah,
not,
exactly.
every hand has outs that he has.
Louis,
Aces
here-
needs a lot of protection here, so I
Yeah.
can understand ripping it here.
here's a good spot to also show the disparity of queens between the two hands as well,
Mm.
right? So the nut. nut
Yeah.
straight blocker here,
Yeah,
right? There's, you look at the difference between the two, who
Yeah,
has
there-
more queens?
yeah, in position when he, out of position when he calls, he's really short on queens. We have a bit more queens, but like. I think like the queen, if we look at the aggregated report, as we saw, it's not so good for us. It's good. But you know. it's
Why
not
are we
like a
ripping?
king or
Why
a
are we
jack,
rule?
right?
Why are we ruling out jacks, queens, and kings here? Because he's already ripped them, right?
Yep.
He's already ripped them risk premiums. They're
Yes.
going in, right? At
Yeah.
40 bigs.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to check.
Yeah, this guy has a lot more queens than the other guy because he has full frequency of ace queen off, queen jack suited, some queen tens, ace queen
Queen king
suited, king
suited.
queen suited. And the other
Yeah.
guy, if you look at the other range now, Louis, he doesn't have ace king or doesn't have ace queen, king queen suited, and only has a fraction of queen jack suited, and he doesn't even have much king queen off or ace queen off.
Why have
So
we
he's
not got
really
this?
he's
is
really
this-
devoid of queens as a whole. So those boards that are between jack and 8, where there are 3 cards connected, he lacks the top end of the straight draw. So the bottom end of the straight draw, when we have the 7 and the 6, is more protected.
Is this the imposition free better we're looking at there? But
This,
yeah.
this
yeah,
is
wait, this-
the three bet, yeah.
So we're saying he's devoid of queens, right? I'll see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah, the queen is not good and boards that are gonna like, if your queen or your jack makes a straight and you don't have it in your range, well, it's tough, right? It's tough to
Louis.
play a 10-9-8, right? Because you don't have queen, jack 10 or queen jack, all right?
Can
So
you
yeah,
compare- can you
On that
compare
10-9-8 board, he's going to have a bunch of jacks that are open-ended, but he
Yeah.
doesn't have very many queens for the nut straight.
I think in Pio you can compare ranges with each other. Yeah, who has the most sets, etc., etc.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you look at that, then you see it more clearly. I think.
Well, you know, we have to pair as, yeah. Like, we have to pair sets, straights and all kinds of stuff, and all he really has is over pairs. So it's one pair versus a super strong range that has 2 pair, blah, 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 blah.
All the sets,
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
especially on that 10-9-8 board.
like he just
Even-
has over pairs.
Even on the 8s, he doesn't 3-bet 8s at full frequency. So,
No.
so we even have more 8 sets of 8s than he does.
He shouldn't be, if he's any good, he shouldn't be free betting 8s and 9s and 10s a lot anyway, should he? Like we already said that as the frequency you're free betting those is not very often.
Yeah, they're very low indeed. Yeah.
Why is it low though? For example, why is there a spatter of free betting in there? Are we talking, it must be down to the player type, right?
It's balance. It's GTO, just balance.
Yeah,
Just
he's,
balance.
he's-
It's balancing you across all runouts. So you have, you want your best hands, your 3-betting range is, you start with aces and kings, but then you need to have some coverage on queens and jacks. You don't want only coverage. You still want to prioritize towards the best hands, but you balance those factors against each other. And you
So
come up with some-
basically this is against the player we don't know. We're gonna
Exactly.
play balanced and just play 30%. Well, you're gonna may as well flip a coin, aren't you, really?
And there
Yeah,
will
G-
still be flops and runouts that are worse for you, but you want some protection. You want something on many flops.
Yeah, so these are the boards where out of position check jams the most on, and look at this, we have a lot of queens here. Like queen eye disconnected type of board. Like since in position is really short on queens, the queen is gonna be all over the check jam spots. And then also,
All the 9s and 10s by the look of it.
like, so these were the boards where out of position open rips, and then, these are the check raises small. So like king eye disconnected. Queens, we see a lot of queens here for the check raises small and a lot
Quite
of
a few.
boards.
A lot of kings in there really on the disconnected ones, Louis.
Yeah,
A lot.
king 7-4 rainbow is gonna be a Every check raise, king 7-4.
Yeah, whenever there's a king or a queen, and then either a mid card or two low cards, it's gonna check raise small a lot, and anytime it has top pair, it doesn't matter what the kicker is, it's going to check raise.
So on this type of board, in position is range betting pure. And then we respond mostly by raising. We don't
And
call
all the kings are gonna raise there.
all the kings, and then we have a little bit of spaz here, but if we see, it's always like card that could make the straight with the backdoor.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Like
like,
sets most of the time though with the sevens and the fours, but yeah, backdoor straight draw.
and you wanna
Ah.
have like a6 that is bluffing here, like it, so. He has a lot of check raisers because if we look at the kings, we three bet the best kings, right? But I think on this board, top pair, is this in position? Okay, so we have top pair as the three better, 30% of the time, right? But he has a lot more top pairs in his range, like in terms of. Oh, well, we have 16 combos and he has 15, so it's really close in top pairs. But like,
Although, don't you want to look at the percent rather than the combos for how often he has it, rather than how many he has?
it's like, this is a proportion of his range.
Yeah, that's more important.
Yeah, and then, but you also have to look at like over pairs, two pairs and sets.
Mhm.
This is where the difference is, because we have a healthy, we have sets a lot as the caller here. We have pocket 7, we have pocket 4, and he does not. So we have more sets than him. We have more hands like two pair, king 7. We have more hands like these type. So overall, the nut part of our range, like, if we look at equities here, like, it's like, yeah. Like we connect really well with these kind of board.
Yeah, imposition has a significant equity advantage, but doesn't have a particular nut advantage.
Not on that board.
Right.
So we're basically the calling combos are a lot of nut hands, right? We're just calling.
So like 22% of the time we have the nuts here.
What I meant was, are we just
Oh,
calling those hands off, Louis? When he bets, we're just gonna call him off behind with the fours, the sevens.
Yeah, so
No, sevens was calling some, fours was mostly raising.
Right.
so yeah, these are the boards where out of position is check raising small the most on. So a lot of like these kind of king eye board or queen eye board that are like a king or a queen and two low cards, or a pair boards with a king or a queen. So heavy check raise small for out of position. And then we want to look at boards we range bet pure as in position. So Jack, so it's really about, you know, like the king eye boards that are disconnected. He's gonna check raise a lot, but the jack eye boards are really good for us. When it comes jack high disconnected, we're pure range betting as in position. When the big card is paired,
Yeah, that's what we call them.
when a big card is paired, we are gonna range bet a lot.
We're range betting a lot with the jack in position.
Yeah, the jack is really good for us as the three bet.
Right.
Because, yeah. And then I also looked at the type of boards where out of position dunk leads into us with a small bet. So 10, 7, 6, 8, 7, 6. So like three low cards. Now let's look quickly at the notes that we took. And this is as in position, we're betting like 75% of textures. we like to bet the most on king eye, queen eye, jack eye type of boards. But if we have two of these, it's even better. The bottom of the range of the caller has hands like 10-9 suited, 10-8, ace-7, king-7. So if out of position could have flopped two pairs, say for example, the board is like king-7 deuce. Like, if we look here, one of the board where he check raise small the most on is king-7-4 because our opponent has king-7, has two pair and we don't. So you have to think about kind of the bottom of his calling range. How does it connect with the board? So we check more when the bottom of his range could have made two pair or a straight draw. Or like a set.
Okay, that makes sense.
So like,
That should always be the case though, in
Yeah.
any hand with any stack depth, anything, right?
yeah, so on a hand like king-7-4, our opponent could have pocket 4, he could have pocket 7, he could have pocket 5 or pocket 6 as well and try to bluff us. So like, yeah, he can check.
It could
raise
have
the-
four, it could have 4-5 suited as well, technically, right?
Yeah.
Which is a good one.
Yeah, as a three bitter, we don't have any 7s or 6s. And the caller has like pocket 6, king-6. We wanna be cautious, like on it. I'm pretty sure if we see a flop and then there's a 6 on board and then the 6 pair on the turn, it's gonna be really, really good for out of position. There are flops where we want to, as in position, open rip a lot. So it's always gonna be like jack 10, queen jack or queen time type of boards. And then in position, never open rips when there's an ace on board. So whenever we three bet and there's an ace, we are never gonna use that open ripping strategy. But if it's a board like queen jack X or queen 10X or jack 10X, we can open rip as the three bet.
Yeah. Because
The
we've got a
board-
lot of outs on those boards a lot of the time anyway.
Yeah, the board we wanna check the most as the three better, monotone boards. And then board with 3 low cards under the 8.
But
We
with,
should, on those boards, we should have at least 8 outs, right? Plus we could already have aces, kings and queens.
But-
I guess that's why we're ripping it.
on the,
Yeah,
We've got all of the gut shots, open enders, plus the nuts already, right?
yeah, the upper end, we have a lot of two pair as the end position as well.
Yeah,
This connect really well with both of our value hands and our bluffs. If we look at the hands we're bluffing here as the three better, king jack, ace jack.
and we're ripping them.
Yeah, exactly.
why
No,
don't we,
I see the point of that because even if we haven't got it, we've got a lot of hands we can still hit.
Yeah, we wanna check a lot on boards like 10, 9, 8 because villain has all the sets. Even his pocket pairs have a gut shot and then guys also 10, 8 and two pairs, blah, blah, blah. So these type of boards are really bad for the three better.
a little back, maybe, why don't we open rip with an ace on the board? Because we have also here, we have aces. If it's
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess we would, a good player, even if he had the ace, he would probably just bet small, right?
So I didn't really look at why we don't open rip when there's an ace on board, but I know it's a thing. So,
Okay, I believe you.
yeah.
I think it's balanced. It's a balanced play if you have trips there, and we can slow play it.
Yeah,
Ah.
like now let's look at out of position. We are check jamming on low pair boards under the 9 or on a straight board when the jack and the 8, like whenever we have a straight board with cards between jack and 8 as high and low, we're gonna check jam a lot. In position is gonna be really short on 10x, 9x and 8x. So if we have two of these on the board, we get to open rip a lot. In position is really short on queens and he's range betting queen eye boards. So whenever like we have a queen eye board, we are actually calling with under pairs, which is not a thing. Say for example, we have a king eye board, like king, I don't know. Let's look at the ace high board, for example. Ace 10 deuce. Okay, so on ace 10 deuce, facing the small bet, out of position, okay, he's gonna fold with his under pairs,
Yeah.
right? But if the board is queen 10 deuce, or like queen 10, I'm not sure, let's see.
Queen 9 or queen 8.
We're gonna look at queen 10-4. But usually what I notice is that since the three better doesn't have a good coverage of the queen at all, when the board comes queen high, we are actually continuing with all of these kind of under pairs. Yeah, queen 10 is not the best example. If we make it a bit more dry.
Isn't that one that we're supposed to be ripping on as the in position guy though, Louis?
Yeah,
No, probably queen jack, I guess, right?
hang on.
Maybe not so much the queen 10, right?
Like when we have queen 3 deuce rainbow, now we're peeling with almost every one of our pairs.
Is that because like
It's
we have
because we
overs
have-
to the three, and in
it's
the other case we don't have overs to the second pair?
I think the
Uh,
queen's a good
yeah,
card for us
yeah.
in general.
Yeah, that could be the case, but if we make it ace 3 deuce, it's not gonna call anymore. Or like
Right.
king. Let's look at king 7 deuce. I noticed that whenever it's an ace or a king as the high card, we fold
Yeah.
with under pairs, whereas when it's a queen or a 10, it's not folding with under pairs anymore. So it's because of board coverage.
But we're ripping a lot of the time in position on a queen jack board, maybe not so much a queen 10 board then, Louis.
No, queen 10 is still gonna rip.
We're still ripping on the queen 10 in
Yeah.
position.
It's
Okay.
it's all about having the over pairs and the maximum amount of sets, because the player who had the opportunity to four bet is going to four bet his pocket jacks and pocket queens.
You
So
should be
he's-
all in with them.
Yeah, he's devoid of top set there, and we have top set at full frequency.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also,
Should
what
he,
I-
have been,
love,
should he be jamming the 10s there, risk premium, as a risk premium? He should, shouldn't he?
Chippy V, Chippy V.
Chip-
This,
Yeah, Chippy V. This is first level of the tournament.
Yeah.
this is the
he
first,
should-
this is
he
the
should
first
be-
hand.
so there's
Yeah,
no
he should-
premium here, Barry.
No, but he should be jamming 10s, right? 4-bet.
Yeah, against a balanced 3-bet range. Yeah.
So
I love how often the solver ends up coming back around to fish logic. Like you call with your under pairs when the flop has a queen because you put him on ace king.
So on the type of board like king, high, low, like king, low, low, or queen, low, low type of board, out of position, never calls. We almost only check raise. So look at. Like this is not yeah, we mostly check raise here, do we? It's 21, 22, almost even. But if we look at like a bit more dry when it's rainbow, king 6 deuce.
Can I ask why the three better doesn't have a lot of queens in his range?
It's because of GTO ranges.
All right, aye. I thought it'd be ace queen, king queen, queen jack suited.
I think there is, Andy, but I think it's just a lot less than the aces and
Right.
kings.
It's just
Okay, yeah.
a range construction at GTO.
He's still got them, but nowhere near as an ace or king.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like, look at this type of board, king 6 deuce, we never call unless we have a set. So sixes, deuce, it's not as clear here, but we almost never call. We almost only respond by raising. It's like
Yeah.
all of our top pairs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
to Andy's point, this is under the gun versus under the gun 1. So when you're the
Yeah.
second guy to act and you have king queen suited after a raise, it's not a great spot to 3-bet. So the solver flats king queen suited like 96% of the time there. And ace queen suited the same thing.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that.
I
No
guess
problem.
you don't really want to get 4-bet jammed off those hands anyway, because they're so good on the flop.
Exactly. Those ones are too good. And then like king, queen off is kind of too bad. You 3-bet at a low frequency, but like mostly you just muck it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's lots of opponents behind you, and yeah, it's a bad spot because the opener's range is so tight to start with.
So with 40
agree.
big blinds.
I agree, 3-bet queen, king off. You're better off 3-betting the offsuit garbage.
So on
Yeah.
ace high and king eye type of boards, we want to flop fold under pairs against the C bet. But on a queen eye board, jack eye board, 10 eye board, we continue with them. Or we lean towards calling with them a lot more. And on flush draw boards, like we wanna have a card of the suit to call. So. Right, we have a. clear
Good stuff.
picture of the,
Yeah.
of the spot. Now let's see if we can win some chips.
Good stuff. That's
We
a
cannot
horrible,
win chips because we're playing against a perfect opponent.
it's a horrible position to be in as well when you're under the gun plus one, isn't it? It's horrible.
That's why we fold.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
spot where I kind of struggle as the three better. So I thought it was really, really interesting to look at it.
I struggle in
Especially since-
and out of position there because
Yeah.
it's just, you just know you're gonna, half the time you're gonna get check raised all in.
Yeah, exactly.
Rest of-
That's
yeah.
exactly the spot I wanna work on because very often I see bet with range on these type of board and then they just check jam. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. And you've got the gut shot to the nuts and 2 overcards, Louis.
I wanna work on my calling range against this shove precisely.
Well, we're shoving now in position with a lot of those hands that we would have been C-bet and then folding, right? So the jam.
Yeah,
We're jamming instead.
Uh,
so alright, let's get started. 1 hour later.
But
Oh, here we
three-
go.
So we lost our minds and we 3-bet the king jack off here. Good.
Well, it's a good offsuit combo to 3-bet.
Are we
We
doing that
should be
full
check.
frequency?
We know we should be checking here, like we spoke about.
I think we
26.
bet.
It's in there, but I
small.
mean,
wanna
but
bet
it's not
small.
full
Uh,
frequency, is it?
Oh, we can bet small. Yeah, of course we can, but there's no all in. That's
Good.
right.
Good.
But
Just
we're
making
six.
sure we making sure we usually don't do this.
but we are
No.
6-handed, so we're not really
No,
under the
no,
gun.
we're not 6-handed.
Oh,
It just
okay.
shows it like that on the viewer.
But
Yeah,
we
we're-
got no
this isn't low
jamming
jack.
range. We got no jamming range with the ace on the board.
26% king jack.
Yeah, so we just.
We can
No,
bet small.
And he has to fold everything, all his pairs, under pairs, he has to fold.
that's good.
Or he should do. Might not do if it's me.
So that's just a range bet there.
Yeah,
Yep.
On a lot of ace high
Basically.
flops, we're gonna range